Do you love motherhood, but you also feel like you're drowning? Do you feed your kids organic fruit, but don't mind some screen time? Then this is the podcast for you. We are the Scrunchy Moms Club who like to keep it real and relatable about the roller coaster of motherhood. We aren't silky moms, we aren't crunchy moms, but we are scrunchy moms. Hello, and we're back.
We are back.
Can you believe? Episode 3.
Already. Wow.
Oh, time flies when you're having fun. And you know, it's, as we said the episode before, that we're going to kind of deep dive into Jonah's story. But before we do that, you know, I'm wearing a gorgeous shirt that says Club Heart, and I have a beautiful anatomical heart vase in front of me. And my gorgeous friend Savannah is wearing red on her lips.
Okay, I was going to wear a red shirt, but as I just told Lyla, I went in my closet, and apparently red is not my color. I don't own any red except for, like, Christmas. I could have worn a scarf.
You could have worn a Christmas shirt.
Well, I don't have a Christmas shirt. I have a Christmas scarf. But then I would look like an idiot in Florida at 90 degrees.
In almost June.
But I should have done it for Jonah. But
you do it for Jonah, but we see where your priorities lie.
Not, like, burning my ass off? Yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking rude that you don't burn your ass off for Jonah.
Anyway.
Yeah, so if you can guess the theme of this episode, it's hearts. Anatomical hearts. Yeah, and actually it's so funny. I ordered this shirt last week and I just got it in. And what was cool, it was like I was Instagram influenced again, and I saw like Taylor Swift like lyric shirts like on this web, like, you know how like Instagram has those like fucking the ads,
the algorithm, it gets you,
it's
me. Listening. Yeah,
it is really. So I went on this, and then I like was searching the website, and they had like this heart club shirt, and 30% of the proceeds for the shirt go to congenital heart.
I would thought you were going to say they made like heart shirts with Taylor Swift lyrics, because
oh my God, no,
that needs to be a thing.
Well, I guess that's my next Shark Tank idea. So and then conveniently enough, it came this morning. So
it was meant to be.
It was meant to be, because Savannah and I weren't going to record today, but here we are, because she just came back from her hot girl cruise. But we're not talking about her today, because this isn't about her today.
Like literally just docked a few hours ago.
She's committed.
I think it's important to note I'm committed. I literally got off the ship.
I will say,
and I'm here.
She's here, but we will talk about her cruise, because I am very anxious. I literally told her, like, don't talk to me about it. Like, I don't want to hear anything about it.
It was a little rude, but it's fine.
You get it. It's for the business.
I get it.
So, so now let's just get into it. We weren't going to do too much banter today, just because, you know, it's a long story.
And it's a little more serious.
It's a little more serious.
I mean, we're still going to sprinkle our dry humor, because that's how we cope with trauma. But it's going to be a little different vibe than the normal podcast.
Yeah, because, you know, I think it's just time that everybody, you know, and actually this is my first time, like, just on, like, an open forum talking about our story. Yeah. Which is, like, kind of crazy. Yeah. So, like, just, like, sitting here in front of a microphone and one of my best friends, like, just like talking about it. Yeah. Like, I mean, like, obviously, like, everyone was with me through it and all that, but like, So,
and I've also heard it, but I heard it as it was happening. So now I get to actually like see the cards unfold. Like, like all of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we have tissues ready.
We have tissues.
In case we need them.
And actually even.
Oh, you have a puff.
Okay. Shout out Monica.
Oh, you've never done the puff?
I've never done the puff until right now.
We're talking about a makeup thing, not drugs.
So this makeup thing, first of all, it's really great for sweat, but I guess for tears as well.
You apply it, you're just using it to blot, not powder.
I'm using it to blot, like, if I'm sweaty or if I'm crying.
Yeah. No, the puff is, shout out to the puff.
And it's a triangle, if no one's, like, it just really is, like, the design is... And shout out to Monica for introducing me.
So you got your tissues and you got your puff.
I got my puff. I have my, like, almost done matcha. Yeah. It went into eco. Anyway, so.
Hold on, AC. Okay.
AC issues in my house.
Okay.
Anyway, all right. So let's just recap really quick, because, as you guys heard in the pregnancy episode, Jonah was small. I had some started my issues in the third trimester, where he wasn't growing, and he had IUGR, intrauterine growth restriction, and my fluids were low, and he was born teeny tiny. And, just when he was born, also we found out as soon as he was born, his penis had, we forgot about his penis.
We're getting into that. Okay.
Yeah, well, because it leads up to everything.
Yeah, true.
So he came out and he has something called hypospadias. So it's where, he had like a really severe case of it.
Oh, really?
But because mild cases are just like your urethra's a little bit off. Like the head, I don't know, penises are weird. And then we were like immediately referred to a pediatric urologist who actually ended up being like, he's a big part of our story too. Anyway, so he diagnosed him, and then at 8 months old he got the surgery. But also like with Jonah, like it also like his thingy like curved too. Like it was like a really crazy,
right.
Like it looked fakaked. It was nuts.
But as far as like seriousness goes, it like was an easy procedure.
Yeah,
right?
that one was an easy procedure.
They weren't really concerned. They're just like, this happens sometimes.
Oh, it's actually pretty common.
Yeah.
And mild cases usually don't have surgery, but like his like needed to.
Yeah.
No, we're very thankful for that. We got that at 8 months, and the recovery kind of sucked. He needed a catheter for a whole week.
But you knew like pretty much at birth that he would need it in 8 months.
Right, because they don't know, they can't detect that in utero.
Yeah.
So anyway,
but you had time to prepare.
Right. Yeah, I knew. So so he had that surgery at 8 months old, but regardless of that, so that was like the first thing also, like when he was born. But yeah, he was off the charts small, like his whole first year.
Mm-hmm.
He was itty bitty, and but the doctors weren't too concerned because they were just like, okay, like he's growing, like at least he's in the upward trend. He's not like fluctuating or anything.
But he was
like
very small, like not even on the charts, right? Like
less
than 1%.
Yeah, like not on the charts. I had to buy preemie diapers from the hospital bed, preemie clothes, because I brought all newborn size, and he didn't fit into newborn until 2 months old. Like it was crazy. Yeah, his growth was really slow, but like, again, no one was too concerned because he was growing.
Right.
He was just tiny. So, and like he hit his typical milestones for the most part, like crawling, walking, rolling, all that stuff. And the only thing that was like delayed, and still is speech and language and social, right? But like, other than that, like he really was like, we lived a pretty typical normal.
Oh yeah. That
life,
almost a year.
Yeah. That first year. So, it was, life was ordinary. I was working a lot, but, I was a working mama, and, my mother-in-law was taking care of him.
You worked a lot too.
Yeah.
You were like one of the heads of your company.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So he had his first birthday, December of 2022. We, again, like milestones were, but I always kind of like, he wasn't hitting, like he never really babbled. He didn't he wasn't. Yeah, the speech and language was, and I even brought it up at like the 9-month appointment, and the doctors are never gonna.
It's so hard that
young.
first year. The spectrum is so broad of like when you develop things, so they're really not that concerned that young. And it's so hard because some kids just don't start talking till 3, and it's completely normal. Some kids start talking at 8 months, and it's completely normal.
Yeah.
And it sucks that like they have to wait until a certain point to where they're like, oh, it's actually not normal anymore, where it's like, we should have started this a long time ago.
My mommy gut knew, but whatever, it is what it is. So we life was typical, life was normal. I was working, my mother-in-law was taking care of Jonah, and then actually I'm gonna like set the timeline of like, in March of 2023, I my work dropped our insurance. Mm-hmm. And I know this all leads up to the story. So my work dropped my insurance, and we didn't have health insurance for a minute. Sam quickly got on it and got us to private health insurance in April, like end of April, like I remember April 28th of 2023. And then, and mind you also, like I was in this weird, I in a weird space mentally. Ever since I went back to work after maternity leave, I was in a weird space. But I would just like, you know, whenever I'm out on the floor with my employees, I made it really like, I mean, I hope I put on a show that I was like, okay,
but like we're very good at masking.
Yeah, but I really was. And like my close friends knew like I was struggling with like being back and the amount I was working, and you know, and I just was toying around with like, you know, dropping my position and going part-time. Yeah. This was like
this was right before. I remember us having at brunch.
Well, just listen.
Yeah. No, but that's crazy because at brunch we were talking about, you were saying you were debating like stepping down. And
because like I was clinical director of my company and I'd worked so hard for that. But then like, I'm like, if I'm a mom, like, I don't know. My heart was so...
You felt like you were missing moments.
Yeah, my heart was so torn, like, every single day, and I just would cry every day, like, going to work.
And Sam, at that point, wasn't he, like, for you stepping down?
Yeah. Like, everybody, like, all my friends and family were very supportive of it. It was just a me decision because, like, I'm so used to being a career girly, and I work so hard, and...
Exactly.
You know, so that, like, divide in my brain and heart was very, very difficult around that time. So I literally had made the decision 2 weeks. So beginning of May, I said, Sam, I'm stepping down. Like I'm doing it. So I took my bosses out for coffee and I explained it. They were so cool. They were so, like, I think they also kind of like low key knew, that my heart and soul wasn't in it anymore.
Yeah.
So they were super cool, and we were like, okay, like in a couple weeks we'll sit down and just like come up with a plan. So mind you, so this is beginning of May, and also beginning of May, Sam and I were like, maybe like we'll start trying again. Like, you know, he's like about to be a year and a half old.
I forgot that all of this happened.
I know, this is like why I want to like lead with it, right?
It's crazy.
So, and like Sam and I were like, okay, like I think it's time. Like, let's start trying again. Like he's a year and a half. Like, you know, let's just see. So that's May of 2023.
So you literally were in this new transition of like, I'm going to work less. We're going to try to start like have a bigger family, start trying. Wow.
Yeah. So like, we got our health insurance, all that. And then, May 23rd, well, let me back up a couple days before May 23rd, but, Jonah just like was presenting with cold symptoms, like normal. And I was like, maybe it's an ear infection. Maybe it's, I don't know. He just had a fever for a few days and I was like, it's time to take him to the doctor. So May 23rd was that day, May 23rd, 2023. So we go to the doctor and, he listens to his heart and he's like, he looks like perplexed. And I'm like, okay. And then like, I didn't really make anything of it. And then he like brought in another doctor to listen to his heart. And then brought in a nurse, he brought in quite a few people.
To where you're kind of...
And I didn't really know what was going on, but I was just kind of like, okay, maybe it's his lungs. I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking at the time. I was just thinking I was going to get a prescription of amoxicillin and go home. Maybe
it's just like a really bad cold. Like his lungs are really, you know.
Yeah, because he was pretty sick. So, so then like he leaves the room for a bit. Actually, my mother-in-law was with me because Sam couldn't come with me to the appointment, and I always like to have an extra pair of hands. She was waiting. She was in the waiting room while I was in the room with them. Anyway, so he comes back and he goes, you know, I hear a murmur in Jonah, and I haven't heard this before. I want you to go down the street to the emergency room. Like, go and they know that you're coming. I just would feel better if you just got it checked out. Hopefully it's nothing, like just like, cause I hear a pretty significant murmur.
I remember you said he was like debating whether to just give you a referral to a cardiologist, but he's like, actually, like, I feel uncomfy. Yeah.
So, so I'm like, okay then. So, I take, and it's like literally nap time, mind you. I remember this. So like he's
in such a good mood.
He's in the worst mood. And so I called Sam from the car and I was like, so don't freak out, but we're going to the ER. Doctor, you know, he said that He has a murmur and this and that. But Sam was like in the middle of a closing for a house. It was just like the worst time.
Best time was the worst for this to happen. Not like there is a good time.
No, there's never a good time. So my mother-in-law and I, we drove to the hospital, which is down the street from his pediatrician, checked in, everything like that. But then like as soon as like one of the doctors came in, it was like 0 to 100. Because I guess the murmur was pretty significant.
Well, and he had called ahead, right? They kind of,
yeah, they called ahead.
They
knew
were expecting him.
Yeah, but we like went right back. It wasn't like a waiting game type of thing.
Because anything with the heart is like
probably
front of the line.
Yeah. So we go in and they're trying to take an echo, but he's like inconsolable, this kid, because he's nap time and he's tired and he's like, what? Why are all these wires?
Any 1-year-old, is not going to sit still.
Yeah, so he's 17 months at this point, so about a year and a half, and yeah, no, it was insane. They had to like come back again, and actually he ended up screaming so hard that he ended up napping on my chest, and then they did the echo while he was napping, and they did all these tests, and I really like. The day is so blurry to me a little bit.
Oh, yeah, because you're literally in fight or flight mode.
Yeah. They come back in. I don't remember the time frame, honestly, but they come back in. They're like, we're going to admit you. You're going to come upstairs to the pediatric cardiac
and it's like,
unit.
no one told you really what's going on yet?
No one's told me what's going on. And I'm like, okay. Like, and I'm in the bed with him. They're wheeling us out, and literally our pediatrician is at the doorway. He came from his office to the hospital and was like, I'm so sorry.
But like,
and I was
what
like,
do you have to be sorry
I was
about?
like, don't be sorry. Like you helped.
Obviously your intuition was correct.
Right.
Yeah.
So like, and he was like, I hope everything's okay. Like the fact that he even like took time out of his day to show up.
What's his name?
Should we say it?
Why? It's positive. Yeah.
Dr. Chong.
Shout out Dr. Chong.
He's my Lord and Savior.
Yeah, I feel like positive, of course.
Okay, yeah. So, so I saw him for a brief second or whatever. And then from there, like once we got admitted and went up to the pediatric ICU, it was just like chaos because he's crying, screaming. They're trying to put tubes. They're trying to test. They're trying to do all these things. And like, obviously a 1.5-year-old is not going to cooperate. Sam finally shows up. And taps in, and at this point of the day too, I've been vomited on twice. I've been peed. I had to change. They gave me like 3 pairs of scrubs because like it was just.
And at this point, you haven't like lost it yet, right? Because you're still in like survival mode. Like I need to.
I did snap a little bit, just slightly, because like no one was telling me what was going on, and. There's like 12 people in the room, but I don't know what's happening.
And it's hard because like everyone's priority is Jonah. So like I understand
they don't give
why
a fuck about me.
They're like, I'll explain later, but we need to like focus on him. But it's still, as a parent, like not seeing all these tubes, wires, and like not knowing, it's just like, it's so hard.
Yeah, exactly. So so I was just overstimulated, just like, just all the things. And, I think they finally gave him a little bit of a sedative because I was like, he's 1.5, like he's not gonna
tolerate you. And like they had to put like an IV in him, right?
Yeah.
No baby, he's still a baby at that point. It's gonna allow that now.
So he's calm, and I really don't remember the in between, but I remember it started to be nighttime. He was sedated in bed
and stable,
yeah, because
did they give him oxygen at this point, like in the nose?
God, maybe
but he was he was in a bed,
crib thing, relaxed, like not like going off. Yeah, really the details are blurry, but then the 2 like head doctors like take us into a room.
You and Sam
and I, yeah. And they sit us down and they're like, and this is where they're finally explaining everything to us. So they say, your son has a very serious virus right now, and which was called metapneumovirus. It's basically like a RSV, like in the family like of that.
Respiratory.
Yeah, respiratory, but just like really bad.
Yeah.
And with that virus, it aggravated his heart, and he had a murmur, which your pediatrician heard, and that murmur is because of X, Y, and Z heart defects. So, and then they explained he has quite a few heart defects, which I'll get into in a second. they say he has these heart defects. He was born with them. And
you had no idea of this, by the way. Yeah. You went in thinking he had no heart issues, and you were told he has all these heart defects.
Yeah. And serious ones. And they said he is definitely going to need surgery. We just don't know exactly when, but he needs it sooner rather than later. So, like, hearing two doctors tell you that your son has a heart condition that you had no idea about, and yeah, it was a feeling that I'll never really be able to describe.
I mean, your morning, you were literally had a cup of coffee, like your regular morning, and then to think of...
Yeah, I went from, like, being like, okay, what's an ear infection? Like, I'm going to get a prescription for amoxicillin to congenital heart defect, and you need surgery.
Yeah, and I remember, not to make it about me.
No, I appreciate your perspective.
From the friend's perspective, I remember because...
I don't remember when I told you guys.
No, okay, so... Let me set my scene because, it's about me. No, but like, so in our group chat, we're moms around the same time. So we would always, text each other, like whenever our kid was sick of like, hey, he has XYZ symptoms. Do you think it's okay? And like, you guys know kids these age get sick all the time. Yeah. So that was totally normal. And then I remember Lyla, either the day before this happened or the day of, was like, oh, Jonah woke up not feeling well, XYZ symptoms. And at that point, it was literally just like fever and like cold symptoms. So we were like, sounds just like a normal virus.
Like, you were like, take him in, like, because...
Well, we were like, take him in if you feel like it, but, maybe just monitor it because it doesn't seem too crazy. And then you said, you were like, okay. And then a few hours later, you're like, I don't know, something is making me feel like this is different. My mama gut is telling me to take him in, and we all were like, well, mama gut,
wins
totally do it. You're never gonna regret taking your child in.
No,
never.
When in doubt, do it.
And obviously mama gut was right, because that changed the whole course of your life after that. So that
May 23rd changed my
that was the scene in my
life.
Perspective.
Okay. But I don't even remember when I I know I got the news, but I think I might have called my sister first. I really don't remember like the sequence of how I told people or how I
even matter. Like at that point, you were not even thinking about like I need to tell people.
Yeah, no, it was just like to process such. Again, it's very blurry. It's very, very blurry of like how
also like a trauma response, right? You kind of like block it out.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So we spent but like they also like didn't tell us like how long we would be in the hospital. Like they were just like, right now we're monitoring, we're coming up with a plan. Also, he's very sick with this virus, and this virus is really affecting his heart and his lungs. So, we want to just keep him and make sure that he's going to get through this virus. Okay. And I said, okay. So we spent the night that night. The next day, they're doing MRIs and all the things still, just to try to get a better picture of what exactly is going on. And let me list the defects. So he has dextrocardia, which means that his heart is on the right side of his body and not the left. Okay. So that's number one. So with your heart being on the right side of your body, and it kind of crushes that right lung a little bit. So his lung is underdeveloped, and he has an underdeveloped lung, and there was a lot of anomalous veins, so random veins through his heart that were going in the wrong places. So he had PAPVR, partial anomalous pulmonary venous return. I'm a doctor.
Say that 3 times fast.
No, it was so hard for me. Like I literally yeah.
I'm glad they have all these abbreviations.
Yeah,
nowadays.
The acronyms really help. So, and the type of PAPVR he has is called scimitar syndrome. So basically, like the circulation of his heart, just like long story short, because obviously I could like really go into it, but your heart's supposed to pump into your lungs into the heart into the rest of the body. Like there's like a circulation of how your
system,
heart. Basically, in his case, it was going from heart to right lung, heart to right lung, heart to right lung, instead of going from left to body.
Right.
So, explains his growth defects. And then, but the fact that it was going from right lung to heart, there was such high pressure in his lungs, it was causing pulmonary hypertension. So pulmonary meaning lungs, hypertension meaning high pressure. So there's and your lungs are not supposed to have high pressure.
Right.
Like they're,
and question for, the dumb people that don't know anything. I'm talking about myself. So he was born with all of these things. So every day he was living with it circulating like that. It was getting worse and worse, right? Like the pressure in the lungs were getting higher. It's kind of like this thing about to explode,
And like the arteries leading to that. There were actually even like some random arteries that like went from like his aorta to his lung that's not supposed to even be there. So it was just like completely, his heart just like it's defective, basically. It wasn't.
And the virus had nothing to do with the heart defects.
The virus had nothing to do with the heart defects, but the virus is what put the defects on display.
Caught it, yes.
Because
exactly.
I guess the murmur was more pronounced because he had a virus.
Yeah, when you have heart defects, you're immunocompromised because of that reason.
And when the doctor sat down with us and told us everything that night that he was admitted, they said this virus saved his life. Because he would have been the kid that drops dead on a football field because he didn't know he had a fucking heart defect.
That pressure would have just built so much in one day. Too much.
Yeah. Which was just so hard to hear as a parent, obviously. And obviously so grateful that it's caught, but also like, where the hell were my prenatal doctors? But that's a whole other hole that we...
Yeah, but no, it's important noting. So you said the heart was basically in the wrong location.
Yeah, first of all, the heart is on the right side of the body and not even the left.
So that is something that could have been caught in utero, correct?
So talking to my favorite echo tech at my cardiologist, she said that everything could have been detected. But we'll get down that hole in a second. So, because that's a dark place. But yeah, so the next day, so all the tests and things like that. So they're like, he has severe pulmonary hypertension, and the only way he needs this medication, sildenafil, which actually is Viagra, which
fun fact.
Like, Viagra also helps pulmonary hypertension. So they're like, he needs sildenafil and he needs it to help with his lung pressures. And I was like, okay, do what you got to do. So my friend Mona, shout out Mona, she came to the hospital, like, get me lunch. And so we like went down, got lunch and came back up, and like there was like 20 doctors like flowing into my room. And because they gave him the sildenafil, but his veins were so out of place that it made him code, and he needed a blood transfusion on the spot. They kicked everybody out. They said, get out, like we'll let you back in when we're ready. Like literally pushed us out. And I'm like, and I have a Coke and a pizza in my hand. I'm just like,
it's what you see in movies, right? Everybody rush in.
Okay.
So I'm not going to eat my pizza.
I guess I got to eat my pizza elsewhere.
This is how we cope, guys.
This is how I'm fucked. Yeah. So sadly I had to eat my pizza in the waiting room.
I'm sure you didn't eat it at that point.
I don't remember, to be honest. Maybe Mona
maybe you
knows.
did. Maybe that's like a trauma response. Just like, oh my gosh, what's that show with Mandy Moore we were just talking about, where she like eats the Snickers as she's being told that her husband just died?
Oh yeah.
It's like a trauma. Maybe you were just eating that pizza while he's coding.
No, it's just like I think my brain was already like maxed out, right? So like seeing that, I didn't know at the moment that he was like, and
you're in shock. Like, shock is such a real thing. You're just... His
lung, like, overflowed. Something happened where, so then they had to do a blood transfusion, and
you probably didn't realize he was coding when he was coding, right? You just...
No, I literally...
They all fled in.
No, I walked into the room, and this is when... It was like... it was like at the same fucking time. It was nuts. Anyway, so I'm in the waiting room eating my pizza with Mona, and then actually it was like, I think it was about an hour later, they like came out and explained everything, what the fuck happened and whatever. So, and after that, so they're like, we can't give him his life-saving medication until he has surgery because his veins are so fucked that he...
Wait, so when he coded, was he intubated at this point?
He got intubated because of that.
Yeah,
he was not intubated until then.
Yeah. So when all of the shit went down when you had your pizza, they had to intubate him.
Correct.
So at this point, he's on a ventilator.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And he was intubated for 8 days. which meant that I couldn't hold him or anything. And, so those first 10 days we were in the hospital, it was a blur. It was yeah, I've never cried so much. I've never been so numb. I've never been so...
Because you're just on your toes. You're just waiting for that shoe to drop. It's
I just had no idea what was going on.
You're waiting for good news, bad news. News, you have no idea.
It was like I was there, but I wasn't. And, I didn't go home. I stayed... Sam and I both stayed the entire time, and I didn't really want too many of course my friends are like, what the hell can we do for you, because this is crazy.
Also, no one really was allowed in the room.
Not that no one was allowed in the room. Sam and I kind of made the decision that we didn't want really people to see him like that.
Yeah, I 100%
yeah, because even Sam's aunt and uncle from New York came down the weekend after, because it happened on a Tuesday, and they came down that weekend. It was really nice of them, but we were and they hadn't met Jonah yet, and I was like, I don't want you to meet Jonah when he's ventilated and intubated and
fighting for his life.
Yeah, no. Thank you for coming, but just give us some food, and we're good. That was honestly the biggest thing. Everybody giving us food.
And I feel when we came, it's we're showing support for you guys. It's we're not trying to be selfish. Let me see him.
Yeah.
He knows that we're here,
yeah.
We're here to support you as a member of, that family.
Yeah. So
you had every right to set that boundary.
Yeah, I know. And Sam and I, we agreed on that. And then after that 10-day mark, we were in the hospital, because right now, just the goal for him was to get better, because for him to get better, what he really needed was a cardiac catheterization. So a cath is what the lingo is. But
you're gonna have to simplify all of these complex things to where
I need a glossary episode.
Yeah.
So a cardiac catheterization. So a cath is a little tube that goes into your groin area, and it's almost like a camera. And it goes up your groin into this vein that goes directly to your heart. And it could be either exploratory, where they have a camera and they're looking at everything, or it could be
you can do procedures
with it. It's a great technology because you don't have to keep opening.
It's not open heart surgery.
Yeah, you can do. So
less invasive.
So the first goal was to get to him being able to do a cath, but you can't do a cath when you have a serious virus.
Yeah, so I feel that was what was
the biggest hurdle.
All these things needed to be done. Correct me if I'm wrong, but all these things need to be done to help the heart defect and help his heart. However, with the virus, he had to get better first,
right?
Because you can't do any surgery, anything when you're sick.
Correct.
So the priority was getting him not sick,
getting him better. Yeah. So, and we met with geneticists. We met with so many, because they are just first of all, Jonah had to take it back. Jonah had no symptoms.
No.
That's the thing. He never turned blue. He never got exhausted from exercise. He never...
Any, cardiac episodes.
Nothing.
It was just the growth.
Just the growth. And,
which could be normal. Every doctor told you.
Right. So, So that was tough. But we persisted. So it was just to get him better. And then we were about 3 weeks in the hospital, and they said, okay, he's stabilizing. He's good. I think he was extubated by this point too. Extubated means the tube is pulled out of your...
He was on a ventilator to sort of let him rest, right?
Yeah, he just needed...
his lungs needed to rest.
So he was on but he was on a lot of sedatives, a lot of different... If you saw...
intubated, you can't be awake. You would freak any person is sedated.
And they would let him they would call it holiday. So they would let him on holiday, take him off the paralyzer. I forget what it's called. The sedatives, but there was also something to paralyze him too.
Right.
They would to put him on holiday, and then go back and forth, because it's good for them to do that.
Of course, yeah.
Anyway, so we got to a point where he was feeling better, and he was getting PT, OT, speech, and he was starting to get out of bed a little bit more. And this is week 3 in the hospital. And then they say, okay, it's time for cath. This is the day, this is the time. this is what we're going to be working on. But of course, we don't know until we're really in there to see what we're looking at and what we're going to do. But
what
just
we're
know,
working with.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
they had
that's
an
the
idea,
the cath is the most accurate way to look at the heart.
Because you're literally in there.
Yeah, quite literally. Because the echocardiograms, which are like sonograms of the heart, he got 1 million of those a day. But nothing beats a cath. But it is a procedure. It's a mild one, but it is a procedure nonetheless. So, then, yeah, dude, this was June 13th. I'm really, like, crazy with dates, and I remember them, like, hardcore. So May 23rd, we got admitted.
And it's all, like, coming up. Like, this is very weird that this is happening. Like, on the 1 year anniversary of all of this shit going down.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
It is.
Like,
I know.
Yeah, you just passed the 1 year.
Yeah, we just passed the 1 year of
going into the hospital.
Mm-hmm. So
at this point last year, you were in the hospital?
Yep.
Wow.
I was, yeah. So yes, cath, he got it. He did fine. You have to lay flat for 6 hours, and doing that with a toddler is interesting. And they confirmed all his diagnoses, but they also were able to clip some of the veins that weren't supposed to be there, that were contributing to the high pressure in the lungs. So they were able to clip some of those, but they said he's still, like, the cath doctor said, well, we did this, which is great, but he still needs open heart surgery.
Yeah.
And that was confirmed with the cath. So, we went home June 20th. So we were in the hospital for 28 days. So.
And you went home being told, like.
We went home being told, like, yeah, I am summarizing this hospital experience, but it really. No, it was the worst time of our lives. But also, like, we have such an incredible support system. It's insane. Yeah. No. Something I'm very grateful for, and I'll never take for granted. But it wasn't so, like, I journaled a lot. I do remember that. And I actually, I read some of my journal, and that sent me. Sometimes, like, I just, like, I like to trigger myself, and I'm like, ooh, I want to be really sad today and cry. And, like, I'll go fucking read my journal from the hospital. I'm sick.
That's really toxic. But maybe therapeutic. I don't know.
Well, I think therapeutic in the fact that, like, look where we are now.
Yeah.
You know? And like I wish I could tell Lyla 2023, like, that it all was going to be okay. But, like, in that moment, it's so hard to even believe that.
It's so hard to think, like, one day we're going to look back at this time and be like, wow, we really went through that. But when you're in it, you're like, I'm never going to get out of this. Like, this is going to be our lives forever.
Yeah. Well, that too, like, you don't know what your life is going to become. And also just the isolation of it all too, because really, I love all my mom friends and all my friends and mothers or not.
But none of us have gone through
none
even
of you
a sliver of this.
Yeah. And it's really difficult because, of course, I come to you guys all with things, but at the end of the day, I do continue, even to this day, feel very isolated because I have gone through such a unique motherhood experience. So that's,
and I feel like I would be, like, almost angry. Like, why me? Why my son? You know, like.
Oh yeah, I went through a lot of testing.
It's okay to be angry, and
I went through. Yeah, I've been through a lot of dark places. I've also been through. Yeah, the why me, the do I want to sue my high-risk doctor for not, you know, I've been through it all. How did they not detect this?
Right, but didn't your nurse say, like, going down that hole, like, it's
dark.
It's not going to do you any good because
I would still be, like, would he have gotten surgery maybe much earlier and then, you know, whatever. So.
Like, nothing can be done about it now, so you're only going to make yourself go crazy thinking about the what-ifs.
Yeah, which I do from time to time. I'm not perfect, but. All right. So we had our 28-day hospital stay in Florida. And then, so we kind of left the hospital being like, well, like, let's let him be really healthy. And we're going to do a second cath to, I guess it was like a doubly confirm. I don't know.
See how his pressures are.
See how his pressures were.
That was like the main thing that was preventing surgery, right?
Yeah. So actually, it's really risky to do surgery with his pressures being so high.
Right.
You're really not, again, because you're not supposed to have high lung pressure. And that's where the surgeon sat down with us, maybe a couple weeks after the hospital stay.
Is this the statistic?
Yeah. Oh. And he told us that statistics were 50%.
50% that he would make it out of surgery.
Yeah.
That he would survive surgery.
Because the bypass, like that
gives me chills every time you say that. I remember you telling us, and I was just like, that has to be a typo. Like, that cannot be real. Like, how are you? I just don't know how, like, you can hear that. What else is there to do? Well, yeah.
Yeah. No, so that sent me.
So it's 50% chance that he would survive the surgery, but if you didn't do the surgery,
it would be
100% chance that something would happen.
Yeah, no, and we knew we're doing surgery. It's happening. But it was like the wind, and like the doctors here were so like, our life was just so, I don't know if you remember, just week by week.
Oh yeah,
we were like so like
it was
in
getting
this limbo.
Postponed. Well, it was also the pressures, right? If I remember, like they wanted
the pressures
give
lower.
It more time to see if the pressures would lower, but it just wasn't.
But
happening.
They kept being like, we really want to do surgery, but the pressures aren't lowering. And mind you, let me like put a pin on this for a second. Like, I quit my job immediately.
Oh yeah. Well, of course.
Well, it was weird because, like, I kind of didn't at first. Like, everyone thought that I might come. Well, we just obviously didn't know, like, the...
Well, because, like you said, every day it was a different
Yeah, so, like,
thing.
my bosses were super fucking cool, and they, like, would check in, but, like, they weren't like, when are you coming? They never, like, said the words, when are you coming back, whatsoever. Like, they were so understanding of it all, and they ended up giving my position to, shout out Monica, and like, because they knew that obviously, like, it was just like the crazy timing of like, I had put my notice in for director, and then like everything happening. But yeah, no, I quit my job immediately. So this is where we were saying earlier,
and abruptly, and like it is. I guess
I literally gave a 90-day notice too. Like, I was so nice.
Like in our line of work, we work with clients and their parents. Like, it's a very personal thing. Yeah. So to abruptly leave like that is obviously not ideal.
No, and I don't. Yeah, that killed me. But then, like, literally, my boss was like, "Shut the fuck up!" Like, like, I know. And I was like, "But like, I can't even train." And she's like, "I don't give a fuck. Like, stop. Like, please." You know, so, but that's me, you know.
I can still do some paperwork, send it to my computer.
I know. She's like, no, you can't. Anyway, so yeah, so I did. So mind you, I'm not working at all. And the thing was, since now, you know, he's in this between, you know, the hospital stay and surgery, he's high risk of getting sick. He is, I'm terrified. I was terrified to come home. I'm like, I have to come home with a kid that's not fixed yet? Like, what do you mean?
Oh, yeah. And then, like, obviously having kids, they get sick all the time. Any sort of germ, you know.
Yeah. So that's where I was flipping out. Because I also had to come home with all this equipment. I had to come with oxygen. I had to come home with a pulse ox machine, which I slept in.
I was going to say, you slept on the floor.
I slept on the floor in Jonah's room for 3 weeks after we got home from the hospital, and then in the guest room, and then finally in our room. I faded out literally. Yeah, no, it was tough. Like, that in between time, I think mentally was way worse almost than being in the hospital.
You're just like on your toes waiting for like something to happen, and you're like, I don't have access to all these equipment, like the nurses.
Right.
If something happens.
Right. I know. Like, when they said they were going to send me home, I was like, what?
The nighttime would be horrible. I'm sure you didn't sleep for the first few days.
I did not, because also the pulse ox machine goes if it goes under a certain,
as noisy as a hospital is.
It was it was terrible. So so we were home. It was summertime. We did a lot of beach trips. But we stayed away from people because like we really didn't have a choice, because we didn't want to get sick. And it sucked too, because Sam's other brother was getting married and going on a cruise, and we had booked. This is the funny part too.
You had to cancel so many things. I'm thinking about it, and like not attend things.
That's another part of my trauma. And that's why I hate canceling things. I think
because
it really,
FOMO is like
you're. Oh yeah, FOMO.
You're such a FOMO person.
I hate.
So am I, by the way.
I hate missing out on things, and in the last 3 years, I've had to miss because I had like 4 weddings in 2023. I went to I had 3 or 4 weddings,
vacations.
I had to cancel,
which is
which of course, obviously, I would do it in a heartbeat, but doesn't make me less sad. Of course, I'm allowed to be fucking sad.
So allowed.
My brother-in-law and sister-in-law got married, and then my 2 best friends from camp, they also who I've known since I was so little, you know. So that's. Yeah, all like quality people who were getting married. It wasn't just like Joe Schmo's wedding. Yeah, but anyway,
but no,
obviously they understood.
You're
it was
validated,
like, no.
And I'm sure it's summer, so you see on social media people going out on trips, vacation. Like you can't help but be so feel a type of way about that.
Oh my God! But we went on a couple of beach trips just to get out, and I needed a change of scenery. I'm very much like somebody who can't stay still. So
yeah, you don't like staying home.
No, I fucking hate staying home. And only on my terms. I don't like when someone else tells me I have to do it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So between surgeries, we tried to make the best of it. We really didn't see a whole lot of people. It was a really hard time for me. And we ended up getting his cath in August, August 21st. Actually, it was scheduled for the 15th, but then we were exposed to COVID. That was a whole thing too.
Like, it kept getting pushed, like that in the surgery. And I know that was because, like you said, this was the hardest time, the waiting, and because you're like, well, you guys have stressed how important this open heart surgery is to my son's survival, but you keep pushing it back.
Which obviously I wasn't looking forward to surgery, but for me, I'm like, it's a goal to get to, and
you can't do anything until you reach that goal.
Yeah, I'm very black and white with like health stuff. I'm like, take a medication and it helps it. Do this and it so that's what was so hard for me, is that like that in between lull idle time. I don't do well.
Everything's out of your control. So like if you can just sort of set goals for yourself, that makes you feel a little bit like, okay, we're getting here, but then it really is out of your control.
Right. So then like he had his cath, and then we kept meeting with the surgeon, but the surgeon just, again, mommy gut, which is so important. He just wasn't confident.
Well, okay. I mean, yes, but you were saying he would, like, this is such a rare, right?
Yeah,
his age,
his scimitar syndrome is pretty rare. 1 in 100,000 births have it, so it's like really rare. And just the combination of defects is what's so weird, and especially for his age, because I guess the surgeon was saying like typically for scimitar we would just see you when you're 15. That's when you get your heart surgery, but because his pressures were so high and so detrimental to his health and well-being, so that's just that the risk benefit was just too significant.
You could feel that he was not confident in taking that risk,
But then like the other doctors around me, because I really built like such good rapport with like everybody, because that's me, and like they all were like, you should probably get a second opinion. Like they were all like, it just, and the if the team is mixed, I'm not,
especially with like a 50-50 chance outcome. Like you really should explore all options, which,
and the hospital we were in is a great hospital, but like, again, this is a very rare, complex situation.
Literally your son's life.
Yeah. And I just couldn't.
You're deciding who to hand
whose
your
hands is
literally. That's so insane to me.
Yeah. So so I started doing my research, and we were between Texas Children's and Boston Children's, which are like the top cardiac and just top children's hospitals in the country in general for a lot of things. And it ended up being that my cardiologist, once I told him that I wanted a second opinion, he actually was like really on board,
which
was also my fucking sign. Yeah, but also like good
for him for like not having an ego and being like,
thank you,
please, like let's go somewhere else. I know somebody.
Shout
out,
because other doctors were like a little salty, and I'm like, literally, kindly,
it's
and
not
respectfully,
about you.
Fuck off. In the most respectful way, fuck off. So we explored both options, and then we ended up picking Boston because our cardiologist had a hookup, or a guy he went to university with, something, or they did like a fellowship together or something like that. But this guy and his surgeon, the cardiologist and the cardiologist surgeon, they write articles about scimitar syndrome. So who better
and your doctor where you live knew him.
Yeah.
Like, so he would communicate.
Yes, he gave me the connection. The cardiologist called me.
So like, it was all kind of aligning. You were feeling good about it.
Yeah, and he was like, we talked for 45 minutes with the doctor in Boston, and he said, yeah, we can do this.
He was very confident.
Yeah, he was like, and that's what sold me. I said, okay, we're fucking doing it. So
was he the one that you said had like that, like the... Or was that the surgeon that was like very confident, but in a good way that you want your surgeon to be?
They're all actually. So the
cocky,
I'll get to that after the surgery. But no, I had So So I made my decision. I said, okay. So I filled out the paperwork, getting a second opinion is difficult, and trying to schedule it is difficult.
And the whole process.
Sending
the paperwork, insurance, like all of that.
Because I also had to hound everybody being like, did you send it? And then like they wouldn't, so it was just like that was a full-time job in itself, was just like getting us to Boston. So this is end of August, early September. I get a call September 12th.
You do remember the dates.
I remember everything. And I was at the Science Center with Jonah.
Wait, September 12th is when I gave birth, by the way.
Oh my God, it was.
Not to make everything about me. But you said the date, and I was like, that sounds so familiar.
Funny. Yeah.
Only, the day my son was born.
Stupid. So, September 12th, 2023. We were at the Science Center, and I got a call from Boston, and they were like, can you come September 26th? So, AKA 2 weeks. And
well, this is 2 weeks, pack up your life. You're going to be there for like a month. Like, it's not just
4 to 6 weeks. Yeah. So they said, you can either do it September 26th, or because the surgeon, he's like such a well-known surgeon that he like travels like across he was going to Cairo.
Oh, I thought he was just going on vacation. I didn't know he was going to work.
He's crazy.
Wow, he's a big deal. He was going to Cairo?
He was going to Cairo to teach techniques. And then he went to Malaysia towards the end of our stay.
You should have went and had the surgery in Cairo.
I know, like a little vacation.
Your Instagram content would have been lit.
Oh my God. Wait, speaking of, like, let me go on a funny tangent, because shout out Morgan. My friend Morgan, when I was deciding between Texas and Boston, she was like, but Boston is so nice during the fall.
Who wants to go to Texas in that heat?
And that, like, I was like, you're fucking right. Boston is really nice in the fall. Like, but and then ever since then, she can't believe she said that to me, and I think it's hysterical. Like, at least I'm a friend that's like,
well, that's so funny, because Boston is like way more your like vibe.
Oh my God,
Texas. Not that it even matters.
Right,
when it's
this
your
is
son.
No vacation by any means. My son's
but
getting.
I love that you kind of put that in your.
I know. I was like, Boston is really nice in the fall, so that did sway my decision. So thank you, Morgan. That did sway my decision.
So funny.
So fucked. So we chose Boston. She said, you got to do a September 26th. You got to wait till early November. And I said, all right, let's do it. Let's do it. I'm not waiting any fucking longer. So
you had to find a place to live.
Yeah, so I found a nonprofit organization. Everybody at Boston Children's was really helpful with like pointing me into the right direction, because actually so many people go to Boston Children's
and both parents can't stay in the room, right? So
yes, that is a rule. Mm-hmm. So both parents can't stay in the room overnight. So one parent can, which actually, like, at first I was really pissed about, because at the Orlando hospital we could, but in Boston, I actually like.
It was for both of your mental health.
It was really good, but mentally for the both of us.
To have a break,
yes.
Tag out. Obviously, you're never going to have a break, but at least
sleep.
It forces you out of the hospital.
Yes.
Because if you weren't forced out, you would not leave.
Yeah, so we stayed in like a 1-bedroom apartment, a mile walk away, and that mile walk to and from was like the saving grace of it. So
like you said, Boston in the fall.
Boston
could you imagine Texas like that walk? Like. Fuck this.
Oh my God, I can't. So,
no offense to all our Texas girlies.
I mean, my mom's from Texas.
We live in Florida. Like, it's really hot.
Yeah. So,
where is Texas? Like, what city is the hospital that you were going to go?
Houston.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I packed up my family and we set jet to Boston. We bought first class tickets so we wouldn't be around everybody.
Go you.
I know. That was very bougie, and now Sam and I are like, oh my God, like we can't.
Once you fly first class,
like what an experience.
So hard to go back
and
to.
Jonah loved it too. Like it was a vibe. And we spent a couple days before surgery just like gallivanting city, and Jonah loves traveling, actually. Like, he's like such a good traveler.
He is such a he's such a good kid, like, as far as behavior.
Yeah,
like he's the perfect to like pack up your life and move.
And he loves a big city. Yeah, he's a good boy. So he loved it, and we had some family time, quote unquote family time, and we had like some you didn't want to
get there and like immediately.
Right. I wanted some time, and so we the night before the surgery though, so the surgery was September 26th. We got there the 22nd, so we had some time, and we get to Oh, you know what I booked a hotel right across the street from the hospital, just so like, because our call time was like at 5:30 a.m.
Oh, for that night.
So that night before, we spent the night at a hotel right across the street from the hospital. So we literally just like get in and go, and like I don't have to walk a mile and some change the morning of surgery. So.
Oh, yeah, because you didn't have a car, vehicle, or car seat.
No,
or
and we weren't going to
like
do
that.
any. Actually, we did have a car seat, but it was pointless. But that's for another time. Anyway, so that night before surgery, it was interesting because like I was okay for a while. Like I was like processing everything. I was just like so happy it was getting done.
Yeah, you've been waiting for this.
Yeah, and I think there was but then like that night we put him to sleep, and I cried all night long. I cried all night long.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, not to make it morbid, but
I didn't know where the
50% chance of that. Oh, that's going to get me.
No, I didn't know and like we co-slept that night. Like I had him yeah. Well, because on vacation, Jonah only wants to co-sleep, which like whatever it is.
We're scrunchy moms here.
Yeah. No, and I'm not a co-sleeper whatsoever.
But he's also 18 months. I don't even think you can call it co-sleeping at that point. Like toddlers can sleep with you.
He just wanted to sleep in my fucking bed. So
he's having life-altering surgery the next day. He can sleep where the fuck he wants.
Right. If he wants to sleep in the chandelier, so be it. So yeah, no, I just cried all night long. And like I cried during his bath. I cried. I don't know if he even like knew, right?
He's like, are you gay, Mom?
But then you know what was funny though? Like he went to sleep. We all went to sleep, and then he woke up at like 2-3 a.m. It was like almost his little soul knew.
What time did you have to wake him up?
Our call time was at 5, so we were going to leave around like 4:40ish because literally it was a 2-second walk. No, then that kind of blew my mind too. I'm like, does your little fucking soul know that like something's about to happen? Like, do you feel the vibes, you know? Like I do feel like kids feel energy.
100%.
And yeah, so that was kind of funny and ironic. And then we went and my parents came up for the surgery, and the best thing I ever did was not wait in that waiting room the whole day, because it was an 8 to 10 hour procedure.
And you were given that advice.
Oh right? Yeah, from other, like, I made a lot of heart mom pen pals on
Which
Facebook.
Is so good, I feel like. Yeah. You have to have some sort of commonality, like find it somewhere.
And everybody said don't stay in that waiting room that whole time. Do not. So we went out for coffee. We went out for walks. I came in and out like just to like chat with the nurse and like see, you know. And they also would call me every 90 minutes.
Oh, good. Give you updates.
Yeah. Amazing. That was their policy, was every 90 minutes they would call. So, and actually, weirdly, the day of surgery, I was really calm. I just felt like I was in really good hands. And I had known that I made the best decision.
Yeah, like obviously you want the outcome, but like there's nothing more you could have done to get him to this point.
Right.
Like, you spent months trying to find the right person, talking. You did everything you could.
And I think I was settled. I felt like
whatever happened, like
settled. Mm-hmm.
It's literally out of your hands.
Yeah,
and you did everything you could do.
Yeah. No, I felt like, and. Yeah, it was a weird, like, I was, like, telling my parents and Sam, I was like, is it weird that I'm like this? Like, I felt, like, wrong almost, but that was interesting. And then, the whole day, we just kind of kept ourselves busy coming in and out of the waiting room. And then, towards the end of the day, you know, the surgeon comes out, and, this is like 5:30, 6 o'clock, and he went back at like 7:38. So really it was quite a long day. And he was like, you guys got the best possible outcome. Like,
is that his first words?
Yeah, he was like, really, the surgery went so well.
The best it could go.
Yeah, he came off bypass perfect. Because that was the issue, was like coming back onto bypass and making sure his little heart pumped after having such high pressure. That was the
statistic.
That was the big risk of him not being able to come back off of bypass. So, he said, yeah, it really couldn't have gone.
And is that when you finally released?
You know, Sam did.
Oh, okay.
Ask me if I did.
You're still in.
No, I'm still like, because I didn't allow myself to be happy yet, because I also kind of knew.
You're not done. Like,
yeah,
I still got a road ahead.
Sam is quite, and we've learned a lot about our marriage in the last year, that he is quite the optimist. Yeah, he's quite the optimist, and I'm kind of I am a little pessimistic, but I would say like more realistic. My realism really kicks in, and like, yeah, I had to like protect myself from being fully happy in that. Yes, of course I was like, fuck yeah, like he, you know, got through surgery and we're here, but I just knew like in my heart that like we had a long road ahead, you know? So, cause I had heard and I'd read so much that the recovery is what's really pretty brutal. So we go to, it was funny though, because then the surgeon was like, well, it's going to take like a couple hours for him to get up to the ICU. So if you want to like go get dinner. And he was just like, oh yeah, so this is what so the surgeon was just like this little fairy.
Oh yeah, that's
that like, I call him Dr. Baird, who is like also our Lord and Savior. He comes in like a little fairy coming down, and he goes, surgery was great. Don't you worry. Everything's fine. He might even be out in 2 weeks.
Like throwing pixie dust. Like nothing's wrong.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? It's magical.
See, I don't respond well to that. I respond well to like not sugarcoating. Like you need to tell me straight up. Like that's how
your boy's lungs were
fucked. Right. Well, he did say like the pressures like came down significantly, even just from the repair, and and they do an echo right after surgery when they close him up. And they said like already it had dropped like 30%, which like is crazy.
Amazing.
So, so again, the repair is doing what it's supposed to do, but of course it takes time for pressures to come down, but that's a whole other story. So so then the recovery, then we get to the ICU, and our reality got slapped right in our fucking face. Right. So it was tubes and his scar, and that's where I kind of broke down, like looking at him afterwards. Like when you see your son, your child with tubes coming out of everywhere, unconscious, like just
even though like he was in a good place at that point, like it obviously doesn't look.
Yeah. And the ICU doctors, incredible. Like Boston Children's is the most incredible place, and they were so good at keeping our expectations on par, on level. Like I don't know how to explain. Like they were really good at like being like, this is good or this is not so good, because really like after heart surgery the recovery is so intense. Like things can go like 3 steps forward and then 2 steps back, and that's really like what happened with him, because he would be like, oh, okay, and then like, oh, actually he got a fever, oh never mind that, but then now he's like gonna come off this, but never mind, he's actually so it was very like dun 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 dun, going through it. And actually like, and Sam and I were weird, we both said it too, that like we were much more calm during this hospital stay, because number one, I think for me it was like his heart's fixed now, so like I can breathe a little bit, and we were veterans because we had done a long hospital stay before. Was it the hardest thing ever to be away from my support system and my house and my home and my town? And yeah, but I also had, my parents came up twice, my sister came up, Sam's brother and my sister-in-law came up. I had a friend who lived there who I hadn't talked to in forever, but actually he was like so cool and took us out to dinner. Like really, like your humans really,
they show up for you.
They fucking show up, yo. And all of the gift cards we got, and all of because that was like the biggest thing that helped us, is like we barely had to spend a penny on food because all of our friends got us like literally the week we left, we had ran out of money. That's incredible. So, because we were there 6 weeks total. So no, it was a lot of the recovery itself. And again, and I journaled, and we were in the ICU for 3 of those weeks. And then at the 4th week, we went to like another like step down unit. And then he went from September 26th to October 26th, he was in the hospital. So exactly 1 month. But we stayed like a few days. So it was about 6 weeks, like 5.5, 6 weeks. We were there total in Boston. And the weather was gorgeous.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Your pictures look beautiful.
The thing was, okay, so that was the other thing. Like, I didn't post anything about Jonah's journey at all, because I think it must be like the Jew in me. Like, we're very like superstitious about like posting and like, you know, all that stuff. But like I didn't want to post anything until it was over.
Because it's, exactly. You still have this unknown.
Yeah. It would.
And no matter how a parent wants to talk about something like that or not talk about it, you know, some people find it therapeutic to like, as it's happening, talk about like.
Well, but I had such a good support system.
Yeah. And so you didn't. I also think I would be private about it too. Like until we know what's like this official.
Yeah.
You know,
well, I was even skeptical about posting at all because this was something I kind of wanted to keep private, but then I decided, I was like, I'm posting not for me. I'm posting for other people.
To raise awareness. If anybody's going through similar with their child with medical complexities and, you know, because again, I feel like you felt really alone.
I felt really alone, and I don't want anybody else to feel as alone as I still feel sometimes. I'm a little less. Again, I have some internet pen pals, but, no, it's, that was my goal. And actually, like, even like people I hadn't talked to in years, they're like, oh yeah, I had my kid, like this and this happened, or oh, I have a friend of a friend, like maybe can I give her your number? Yes. And I feel like that was why I did it, and I don't regret that part of it.
What's the statistic for heart defect?
1 in 100.
Yeah,
that's pretty fucking common.
Yeah,
and no one talks about it. But we got through it, and it was hands down the hardest time of my life and will ever be. But you know, and I've told you I've been a little bit in my feels lately, and
because like it's coming up on the year.
Yeah, and you know, I was thinking about, you know, I got pregnant with Jonah, and you know, obviously his little embryo stuck for a reason. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Because because a lot of the reason why people miscarry is because of like heart stuff.
He's literally been a fighter since he was in that fallopian tube. He's like, I will beat the odds.
That's
crazy.
That was a thought that came across my head the other day, and that like blew my mind.
And that's what's crazy about Jonah is like, because like when you look at him on paper and all the shit he's been through, you would expect this like big you know, like he's just such a chill, sweet, innocent soul that like doesn't give off the vibe like, oh, let me lift up my shirt and I have this huge scar because I just went through major surgery that I had a 50% chance of. Like, he is just like the biggest badass of badasses.
I know.
But you wouldn't even know it because he's just so sweet and innocent and just
happy.
Like, happy to be here is like his slogan.
Yeah, his slogan is, I'm just happy to be here. I'm here for the ride.
And
that
the
is
snacks.
just, he's such a good boy. And, you know, so we came home and
you were told to just proceed life as normal, right?
Not yet. No,
not yet?
Because we had come home to cardiology appointments back at our home cardiologist, and we, and at that appointment, he was like, you know, like slowly, like, you know, because we wanted, actually our goal was to send him to school, to daycare 3 days a week. Back in August when they started, but obviously we couldn't because, you know, we were the in-between part of our lives. And then he was like, I mean, wait a couple weeks, but then do it. Sure. Because we came home October 28th or 29th. I really forget that. Actually, that's one date I forget. But November 8th, we had our cardiology appointment, and he said, yeah, give it a couple weeks and then, you know, and then go to school. Like, why not, you know, and kind of slowly because 6 weeks, you have to wait 6 weeks to do any activity after heart surgery.
So you couldn't like lift him up.
Yeah, we had to like lift him from his butt, and that was like so weird. Because like with a newborn, that's okay, but like a almost 2-year-old,
like, what are you doing?
Yeah, and Sam, I still catch Sam sometimes lifting him like that because it like became like ingrained in us. You know, it was wild. But no, he got cleared for activity, and then we just kind of, because Jonah loves activity.
Well, and that was what your big thing was, right? You wanted him to live life like a normal 2-year-old or whatever age you didn't want to restrict his life.
Yeah. So we kind of, we went 2 weeks later, he started preschool, and the teachers were so cool and understanding. The fact that they held our spot for us.
That was another thing. So how long did, you should say that.
This school is very difficult to get into because everybody wants to go. And, no, they were so nice. And
you had just gotten the call, like, after all this time that you got a spot, right?
Yeah.
And then all this shit happened.
Yeah. So it, no, but they held it for me because I was on that waiting list for a year and a half. So, so that was just so, like, again, like, my village is just so
it's just
incredible.
crazy to see, like, how people react to that. Like, true colors really come out, and, you know, maybe in a bad way sometimes you find out people who didn't help. But
but
we're not focused on the negative.
We're not going to get into that.
You really find out, like, the person that you hadn't spoke to in forever who lived in Boston, like, you really find out, like, who the pure good humans are in this world. Yeah. And your daycare.
Yeah.
Your school. Yeah.
No, so many good things to come out. So he's been in daycare, and but you know, obviously he went through such a traumatic, so from 17 months to almost 2 years old, he was in and out of hospitals and isolated.
Well, and what did you say the statistic was? The doctor said, like, every day in the hospital is how many days back?
Oh, like 3 days of recovery.
It's like every day in the hospital is 3 days backwards. Because was it the first hospital?
That's so funny that you remember that. Yeah, that was at the first hospital.
Was it the first hospital stay that he, like, forgot how to walk? Like, you had to reteach
Yeah, we had
him?
to reteach because, like, he was sedated and in bed for 3 weeks. So yeah, it was.
That's like every day you're on a ventilator matters, because that's like you're going backwards in time of, like, the milestones, especially when you're that little. Because you know he had been walking for a few months, so it's crazy that he
reverted,
couldn't walk.
Yeah, no, we had to regain skills, and we've gotten there now, you know, but just the language and speech and language still hasn't developed, and so actually, like, pretty immediately, well, to backtrack a little bit, I had just gotten into speech like September 10th. Like we went to our first appointment.
That's another thing. All these, like, specialists, it takes so long to get
so
in.
and then I got that call September 12th. So it was just like, it was funny how everything. But we ended up getting back into speech relatively quickly, and physical therapy. So physical therapy, school, he's going to gym class, he's hanging out again. Like, and Mia, like, I thrive hanging out with my friends and my mom friends to suffer together, like we say. So, it was, like, nice to, like, and then his second birthday, you know, we all went to Disney. It was just it was just a really good, you're
slowly, like, getting your groove back, but still, I feel like it's valid. You don't have the normal, you know, you still have to take him to speech therapy, take him to physical therapy. You have medications. Like, you're never going to be, like, you know.
Yeah, being a medical mom,
you're going to be a medical mom.
Yeah. I'm a medical mama. And, you know, he just had he had a couple really good cardiology appointments, and now we're on, like, a 6-month.
You basically got cleared, right? I mean, you got told.
Yeah, he's only on aspirin right now, like, and he was on, like, 4 medications when he came home from Boston.
And baby aspirin he'll be on, like, for life.
For life,
right?
Yeah. Which a lot of people take. Baby aspirin.
I took it both pregnancies. It's very common for, like, blood thinning, blood pressure. Right? Yeah.
So, and, like, his pressures are completely normal now, and that took a while too, because right when he got home, it still wasn't, but it was normalizing. Like, it was on a downward trend. So
but now they're considered normal.
That's
and
crazy. April, so, like, last month we got told that they're normal. He came off his Viagra, which was a big milestone of this family. We still have leftover if anybody wants.
Oh my God.
I'm kidding. It's such a small dosage, but I don't know. No, we're not going to go there. He's off his Viagra, and now, you know, we're just aspirin, and they said live life, live, laugh, love. And
live, laugh, love.
But now, I mean, we're still having stuff with, like, his lung, which that's a whole other, you know, topic. Because, again, with his scimitar syndrome, it's very common to have, like, lung issues.
Well, and I think we kind of grazed over that, or didn't, but really quickly, weren't the surgeons also, like, delaying, or they were debating whether to remove it?
Yeah, they wanted to remove his whole part. Well, first they said the whole lung, and then they were like part of the lung. Like it was just
that back and forth was really hard.
Yeah,
like as a parent, like, do you want to do it or do you want to not
take
like,
out the? But
you were pro removing it at first.
I think I was pro like whatever's gonna make him like better. You know, like I think that's just like what I was like. I don't know. I'm not a doctor, but like no. But what Boston was like, hell no, we're not taking a vital organ out.
Right.
Yeah. Like unless we absolutely have to. Yeah. So So yeah, life has been normalizing, and and it's been we're actually like 8 months post-op, like literally the other day.
So crazy.
And you know, life is it's been normalized, and I'm still stay-at-home mom, and I think I want to keep it that way for now. And I've debated going back to work or not, but I think I'm also in this limbo of like, when will the next shoe drop? And that's a pretty dark place that I'm in sometimes.
You still have to work through,
and
you have to work through processing.
Don't worry, guys, I'm going to therapy.
Yeah, no, you're big pro therapy.
I'm pro therapy.
It's like
hardcore.
working through like, no, like you're in the clear, like you can.
Well, of course, like life throws you shit, right? But it's just like, yeah, that was pretty. Because so think about it. I was at work, and I had to abruptly be put on bed rest. And then I was at work, and then I abruptly had to quit my job because my son had his heart defect. You know what I mean? So it's like,
so you're nervous to go back to work,
and then be like, just kidding. Your left eye's falling out. I don't know, like some fucking like,
for sure.
That's my trauma response for sure. Of like,
totally.
Just so right now I'm chilling, and we're doing this podcast, and and I'm taking care of myself, and I'm doing Pilates, and I'm trying to move my body a little bit more. I'm trying to get more into my hobbies, hang out. And then like I have you as a stay-at-home mom friend, which is fantastic. I have a couple others, and I don't feel so alone in the journey of motherhood because we're all suffering together.
Yeah.
And we're all in it together. And so right now it's just really his development that I'm putting in the forefront. And
well, now you have time to target it, because before, I mean, yes, that's important, but like the main thing was like
it was health,
his heart, heart and his lungs. But now that is in the clear,
now we can focus on.
You can go back and focus
other things,
on all that.
Yeah, so he's in speech. He's about to fade out of physical therapy actually, and and so we're also maybe looking at a diagnosis of some sort of autism. We don't know yet, so I was telling Savannah a little bit before, which I think I should just be open and transparent about, because if anybody else is going through, just top it off, just add it to my list. Add it to my tab, people.
Oh my gosh.
No, we just had his 2.5-year checkup, and the word autism was kind of thrown around because I've noticed some things, and he's not behaviorally as such, but he does like, again, the not speaking, and
that's our profession, guys. We work with kids with autism, so we know exactly what to expect. But the thing is, like, being a parent with your kids, it's so difficult to like turn off that switch. You really need to turn off that switch, because every child is different.
Yeah,
and you can't be a parent and be their behavioral therapist. Like, it's just they can't cross.
Yeah, because like first of all, my undergrad is in speech therapy, and then my graduate degree is in early childhood development. So like, of course,
it's hard not to turn. Yeah, it's
So again, I've felt something since 9 months old, but of course they can't do anything. So like, and again, all of his health problems exploded in my face, and then so here we are now at 2.5. So
you're gonna take them along the journey of like,
I think like it's again like
it's very real of you.
Yeah,
So right now you're waiting
because all the developmental delays are so common. Yeah, and obviously from such a vital time in his development, he was in and out of hospitals and isolated and not socializing. So obviously it got worse.
Yeah, like that's a big part of it. The reason why he's delayed is because he developed slowly because he wasn't growing properly.
Because his heart wasn't working correct.
All the time he spent in the
hospital. Literally, it was so funny because my pediatrician, after surgery, he like sat down with me and he was like, doesn't it feel weird that like all of your pregnancy answers or questions are answered now? And I'm like, yeah, it's really fucked, actually.
Yeah, I wouldn't use the word weird.
Like, he's like, doesn't that, like, blow your mind? I'm like, yeah, it does. Like, because, like, of course he wasn't growing in my belly because his heart wasn't working properly and his lung was under, like, it's just, like, so many things that, like, yeah, no, everything for my pregnancy makes sense now, but it doesn't make it, you know.
And it's just so fucked that, like, we have to literally fight to have answers for our children.
Yeah.
Like,
I would have never known to look at his heart.
No.
Ever. And you know, now, I think.
But I mean, now
every time somebody says their child isn't growing, I'm like, check their heart.
Oh,
like,
and I will say, so, like, spreading awareness, Lyla has convinced me. I mean, also being a mom in general, I feel like has made me want to take my health more seriously. Because, like, before kids, I was the worst patient. I still am a really bad patient. But, like, when you become a mom, I feel like it's like you have to live for your children, you know, like I can't drop dead one day, you know, like I need to be there for my kids. So, but especially Lyla and Jonah have made me take, so for pregnancy, again, not to make it about me, but this last pregnancy, I started getting heart palpitations and it totally can be normal. And just, you know, all my doctors were just, you know, brushing it off. It's normal, hormonal, yada, yada, yada. It should leave once you give birth. So I gave birth. It didn't leave. I still get them. It's not like super often, but often enough to make me feel uncomfortable. Like they're not pleasant. And then they again brushed it off. Like it could be hormonal. I was breastfeeding at the time, so like that, you know, makes your hormones go crazy. So it was just brushed off. And then I was like, I think you were like, you need to go to the cardiologist. Yeah. So I finally did. I actually have an appointment on Monday. So when we do the next podcast, I'll have an update for you. Okay. But yeah, so I'm taking my health seriously.
And I love that.
I don't think I would have done, I really don't think I would have took it seriously if it weren't for.
And you know what? If I can do that for one person, then I've achieved what I've wanted to.
Exactly.
And yeah, so I've been taking to my Instagram to spread awareness.
You
and
have.
Like, and I
wait.
and
Shout
actually,
out the Instagram.
What?
Yeah, you're the heart.
Oh, I've like barely been.
No, but still, maybe it'll.
Okay, not now. Later. Because it kind of flopped. But see, because I also like always want to pursue something and then I never go through with it.
Okay, but so do you know good sites or good Instagram, like things to, if they want more research on it, want more, like who do they talk to? Where should they go?
Just talk to me. No.
Like where did you go for research?
Okay,
obviously you're a doctor.
I wasn't prepared for this part
of the
podcast while you're putting me on the spot. No, I mean,
first and foremost, go to your doctor, your kid's doctor. I feel like, I mean, we're talking about our children's health, like, back to the mama gut, it is so, like, that is the biggest detector. Like, trust your mama gut. If you think something is off, like I said before, you will never regret taking them in to get checked.
Yeah.
Like, even if it turns out to be nothing.
Even if it turns out to be a life-altering heart.
I mean, that's, yeah. But I'm saying, even if it turns out to be nothing, just the ease of your anxiety.
Right.
Like, I've gone to the doctor so many times for my children. They're like, it's just a rash or whatever it is. Like, but you'll never regret it. And it could literally change your life or your child's life. So, and I feel like, I mean, doctors are amazing. But just trust that intuition, I think.
Yeah. And also, like, I would go on the...
And even with your pregnancy, like, you had an intuition, like, something is not right. Like, the reason why my child is not growing, all this stuff. And it was kind of brushed off. And, like, I don't know. All that to say, I think, just advocate for yourself and your children.
Yeah. It's hard, and you sound like a bitch, but just do it. So,
but like, who cares, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. So that's kind of, I don't think I've missed much. We're already on an hour 22, so.
But we knew this was, an hour 30 was kind of my range.
Was it? Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's the basic, I mean, not getting into my deep, dark thoughts of.
You kind of did, but like.
Yeah. So things are good, and Jonah is the most gorgeous, beautiful human being, and, you know.
Yes.
We will see about his, we're going to make an appointment with the developmental pediatrician, which sometimes takes months, but
that's like a whole other thing. It's just our health care in general.
Yeah. So we're doing that, and, you know, just living, he's going to start swim lessons, and he's going to.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah. And he's just, like you said, like, he just loves
happy to be here.
Happy to be here.
He's so
that really is his
to
vibe.
Yeah, he's the best.
Yeah. So
like the purest, sweetest soul.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. Whoever loves my kid is just, number one in my book.
Yeah, no, it's once you have a child, like the people that love your child, like there's nothing better than seeing like another person love your child.
The best. And even though my little quirky, cautious, like he's not the Geo of the room who like
falls out of a tree every day.
No, meaning like Geo is the one that brings people together. He's the one that's like
bubbly,
the life of the party. Yeah. And Jonah's not that, but even
probably not good. But no, they're complete opposites, but it's like the best beautiful mess. Like it's the best pairing.
Yeah. So
they match each other. Just the most recent time we hung out, it was sweet. Like Geo.
Oh my God, Geo would like try to hug Jonah. And Jonah's like, "Get the fuck off me!"
Yeah,
like,
well, because Jonah was eating, and like that's his time.
That's his time. Yeah, you don't mess with Jonah when he's eating. Yeah. So that's and my journey is probably going to come up randomly throughout episodes too, because again, it was a pretty significant part of my life.
We're going to talk about our kids throughout.
Yeah, and also like even the thought of getting pregnant again has been a scary one for me too, because first of all, like as you remember from the beginning of the story, like I really wanted to.
You were right about
ready to start trying, and well, Baruch Hashem, we didn't, but also like, because that would have been crazy.
I couldn't even imagine.
I can't imagine that. I don't even want to imagine it. But life happens. I hate saying.
I know you hate that.
I hate that phrase because like
everything happens for a reason.
God doesn't give you anything you can't handle. Like I
hate that one. People told you that.
People told me that.
I'm sure during your whole thing, people have done all
have
those like
said
mantras,
all those freaking cliches.
Yeah,
like respectfully.
God knew Jonah could handle it.
No.
You passed the test or whatever. Like, okay, God, if that's true, like, no more tests, please.
Yeah, like, please, like, I'm good. Like, I've learned a lot of lessons in my life. Like, I'm strong. Can we just, like,
right.
Like, please, I've passed the test. But, where was I getting at? Yeah, so it's going to come up. It's going to, it's a big part of who I am now.
Oh, you were saying, like, you thinking about having another child.
Oh, yeah. Thinking about having another child was, and actually, I'll never forget, like, in Orlando, like, I sat in, like, the little garden of the hospital, and I was just, like, crying to Sam, being like, do we even have another one? Like, is it crazy? Like, it's
what are the like, are you more likely?
So instead of a normal person would be 1% chance, and now I'm 5%.
To have a heart defect.
A kid with another heart defect.
But you've also, didn't you have a doctor say, like, straight up to you, like,
don't even worry about it.
You don't have to worry about it. Or, like, something like that. He,
but
like,
again,
here
I am, like, this is my coping mechanism of, like, protecting myself is, like, I try to be.
And we're, like, I think maybe from our careers, we're, like, numbers people, right? So we're, like, 5%.
Yeah.
Like, that's still.
Yeah. So it's something I battle with, too. I'm very terrified. Of course, it's something I want, but
and now that life has settled, it's sort of like
it's
would
lingering.
Be the time, yeah. But it's that you're always just waiting for you don't want that to happen, and then something bad to happen.
Well, again, also like the first trimester is where the heart develops, so like you're thinking so there's a lot of that's a lot to unpack for me too, but yeah, so that's kind of where I am, and
you were so real and vulnerable. Like you,
thank you.
That was a lot.
Yeah,
I think it'll help.
I just want to be authentic. That's all. And if anybody is going through similar, if anybody also is a medical mama, if anybody else, a heart mom, or just medical in general, or somebody that is, point them in my direction.
Yeah, DM the Instagram.
I am so down to help and be a resource and actually, like, one of my pen pals, she's going to Boston. I like helped her with her second opinion for Boston Children's, and she's going next week
to that surgeon.
Not that surgeon, but she'll be in the hospital. And like I've told in the hospital, and she'll I've told her like all the little secret spots to go to, and all of like the restaurants
the
that
resources
are good,
like where you found the housing, like
I gave her all of so I've like helped her through her second opinion process, and now she's her daughter goes in next week.
So anything to do with any sort of medical needs of your child.
Yeah. So
Lyla's the one to talk to.
Yeah. So very happy to help. It really just brings me joy.
I think it's therapeutic for you. Yeah.
Absolutely. Because I had fucking no one to help me.
Well,
so
and
now
I think
I'm like,
that's just like one of your, not that it's a love language, but you love to help people.
I do. It is my...
It brings you joy.
It
so
does.
Even if you're drowning,
I know
you like to help people.
I'll be like,
it's
okay,
kind of toxic of
it
you,
is.
but it's okay.
It's a pro and con for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah. So if you know anybody or going through it yourself, please, don't hesitate to DM the Instagram and Heart Mom forever. So that's the show.
And so this one was deep. It was long.
Yeah, it was deep and long.
They're not gonna always.
And next episode,
deep and long. That's what she.
Next episode, though, we'll finally get to hear about Savannah's pussy poppin' vacation she just went on with her husband.
Are we talking about postpartum stuff?
Yeah, we are too, but we're definitely because I told you, I was like, this isn't about you this episode, no. So now
just like waiting for my chance to talk.
She'll have her moment, and
you literally took up the whole thing.
I did. I'm so sorry.
Selfish.
I'm so selfish. It's fine though. But thank you for listening. Thank you. Again, if
you've made it this
far at 1:29:35 seconds,
it was a happy ending.
It is, yeah. It is. We're, again, this is me protecting myself. Look at me. I can't even be fully happy.
Even say that. Wow.
Yeah, I know. It's it's fucked, but that's why I'm in therapy. All right. Well, thank you so much for listening, and tune in to our next episode next Tuesday, anywhere you can listen.
Yes, we're going to be talking about postpartum.
So much
fun. Like physical, mental, we're going to be getting juicy. No pun intended. We're going to be talking about all the things.
All the things.
Literally from birth till, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, postpartum is like 2 years. Like, we're going to talk about it all.
Yeah, we sure are. So thank you for listening. We love you, and bye.
Bye.